Kevin McCarthy, the Speaker of the House of Representatives, spoke at the New York Stock Exchange on Monday about raising the nation's borrowing limits. Despite this, investors on Wall Street did not panic. They believe that the government will find a way to avoid the defaults. This is because they're used to last-minute deals on taxes, spending, and debt. However, the situation might be different this time. There's chaos in the Republican Party, and the deadline for raising the $31.4 trillion debt limits might come sooner than expected. In the next few weeks, the government will have a clear idea of when it will run out of money. This is because tax data for the year will become clearer after the tax filing deadline. Goldman Sachs economists warned on Tuesday that the default dates might come sooner than expected if tax revenue is low. The date was previously thought to be in July or August. They said if tax collections in April are weak, the debt limit deadline could be reached in the first half of June. Republicans will not raise the borrowing limits unless President Biden agrees to cut government spending and reduce the national debt. This could cause a recession if the Treasury Department cannot pay its bills on time. However, McCarthy has had trouble getting his party to agree on specific spending cuts. He plans to put a proposal on the House floor next week. Moderate Republicans do not want to make deep cuts to popular programs like education and national parks. McCarthy's proposal will cap domestic spending growth at a rate below inflation. Some Republicans want more aggressive spending cuts. They have never voted to raise or suspend the debt limits, even under former President Trump. McCarthy presented his plan to Republicans on Tuesday. It would raise the debt limit for about a year and return most domestic spending to 2022 levels. It will also cap spending growth over decades. McCarthy wants to add work requirements for food assistance recipients and reduce regulations on fossil fuel developments and other projects to boost economic growth. It is uncertain if enough Republicans would vote for this package to pass it in the House. Senate Democrats and President Biden would likely reject it. Biden wants Congress to raise the borrowing limit without any conditions. He will negotiate taxes and spending separately from the debt limit. Biden has not tried to speed up debt limit discussions or make any deals in Congress. He and his aides will not discuss fiscal policy with McCarthy until Republicans agree on a budget plan. Lael Brainard, the director of Biden's National Economic Council, said they look forward to a proposal from Republicans on spending cuts. The only market showing concern about the debt limit is credit default swaps. These measure the risk of the government failing to pay bondholders on time. McCarthy dismissed this concern in a question and answer session after his speech. He said markets go up and down. Stock and bond markets did not react to McCarthy's comments. They have been more focused on the Federal Reserve's actions to control high inflation by raising interest rates. Some White House officials believe the Republicans will make more effort to raise the debt limits if investors start to worry. This happened in 2011 when a similar showdown caused stocks to fall and borrowing costs to rise. It took months to fix the damage. Some Republicans hope that Wall Street's concerns will force Biden to change his negotiating stance. Representative Patrick McHenry, a Republican from North Carolina, thinks that market participants should be worried about the current state of negotiations. He wants the president to be more involved in the talks. On Tuesday, Gary Gensler, the chairman of the Securities and Exchange Commission, warned that a default on U.S. debt would cause serious problems in the financial markets. He said it would hurt stock and bond markets and could affect the banking system. Not raising the debt limit could have very bad effects, as explained in a paper from Moody's Analytics. It could at least cause problems for the federal governments and at worst lead to a global financial crisis like the one in 2008. This is because U.S. government debt is very important for financial markets worldwide, and these markets might stop working if investors lose faith in the nation's ability to pay the debt. What can America do to avoid this disaster? McCarthy's ideas for a deal are not worth discussing. Agreeing to a deal would be like giving in to blackmail and setting a bad example. Also, it is not clear if McCarthy could make a deal work, even if the Biden administration agreed to it. One possibility is that McCarthy allows the votes on the debt ceiling and some sensible members of his party join Democrats to raise it. This seems to be the Biden administration's main plan. There are other options if this plan fails. Moody's Analytics thinks the Biden administration could ignore the debt limit and use the 14th Amendment of the Constitution, which says that U.S. public debts cannot be questioned. Another idea is the platinum coin. The government can create commemorative platinum coins in any value it wants. It could make a coin worth, for example, $3 trillion, put it in the Federal Reserve, and use the money to pay bills. The Fed would sell some of its U.S. government bonds to balance the money supply, which would be like borrowing money in a different way. Another option is to issue premium bonds. These are bonds with a high annual interest payments compared to their main value. The Treasury could sell these bonds for more than their face value, which would let them borrow money without increasing the official debt size. All these plans have problems that might sound strange on their own, but they should be compared to the terrible effects of the US government not paying its bills rather than to normal ways of managing money.